I think wherever he's at, he has no connection.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not us, it's his side.
So we have right.
Like bigger bit over. Yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting of Jefferson School District 14J to order on June 13th, 2022, 6:30. Will you please stand with me and we'll say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tracy Rowe.
Here.
Fred Solomon.
Here.
Julie Robbins is excused. Kay Jones is here. Eric Lonnie is excused. The next thing up is to approve the agenda, and we'd like to move item number 6, spotlight on education, before the budget hearing, item number 5. And after the budget hearing, to take a 10-minute break.
I move that we approve the consent and agenda items with the adjustment to the current agenda.
I'm going to move that we table the
Can we do it with information, the bleacher piece?
yes.
Can we just, how about if we take off the action at this point and just do it for information?
That would be great. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. My bad. I thought it was on the consent.
No, it's not on the consent agenda.
Okay. My bad.
Okay.
I didn't make motion then.
He
And second it?
Mhm.
I second it.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications of spotlight on education before the budget meeting with a 10-minute break added in. Tracy Rowe.
Aye.
Fred Stottlemyre.
Aye.
Kay Jones votes aye, motion carries. And at this time, we'd like to recognize Shemekia Community College Partnerships. And please come on up, and we'd love to hear from you. And gentlemen, you have it in your packet.
Sure. You want to stand or you want to there?
Oh, no, this is fine. Okay, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Ken Hector. I represent Zone 4 on the East Shemekia Community College Board of Education. With me tonight is Jessica Howard, the president of Shemekia, and we want to thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, share some information, and we'll be brief, but we will answer any questions you might have. So we're here tonight to appreciate the relationship that Shemekia enjoys with the Jefferson School District. We've provided a one-page summary, but we all have it. It kind of gives us some talking points that we're here to share with you. Some of those important points include, last year, 29 Jefferson High School students paid $30 to participate in Chemeketa's college credit program. Now, they earn 247 Chemeketa college credits, saving their families $30,252 in college tuition and fees. 35% of Jefferson High graduates from 2019 to 2020 enrolled at Chemeketa. 60 Jefferson High graduates with a 3.5 or better high school GPA have enrolled as Chemeketa scholars since the program incepted in 2008. Chemeketa scholars are awarded a full tuition scholarship to the college. Chemeketa scholars from Jefferson High have accumulated a total tuition savings of $305,202. 36 Jefferson High graduates who received the Oregon Promise enrolled at Chemeketa since the beginning of that grant in 2016. Oregon Promise recipients from Jefferson High who came to Chemeketa have been awarded a total of $90,836 to date through that program. In the years from 2011 to 2020, 36 Jefferson High alumni completed a Chemeketa certificate or degree, and 45 transferred from Chemeketa to a four-year institution. Thank you for being an excellent partner with Chemeketa Community College, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Well, I have a statement. I remember when we first started this process, and to have a report not too long after we started it with this much success, the dollars that were saved, the Jefferson students that have achieved degrees, the participation, everything, I am blown away, absolutely blown away. This is amazing. And the detail of your report, I remember I sat there and I had to read some of it twice because I was like, what? This is awesome. I'm so grateful for the partnership.
Well, our joint mission in all of this, of course, is student success, and that's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
But one of the ways we help those students is to help their families, and as you can hear from the numbers, we go out of our way to do what we can to make college as affordable as possible for students, because the costs are significant. And just as an example, I think many know all too well that one of the really big pieces, in addition to the tuition fees, is the cost of books. I remember back in my day, and that's before a lot of you were born, how expensive books were. Well, we made a conscious effort a few years ago to address that by going in-house and creating our own peer-reviewed books. And that, I think we're now over $5 million over the last 3 or 4 years in savings on books, and that's a huge one. You have to pay several $1,000s in tuition and fees, and then you get your list of books, and then what do I do? So everything we can do to make things possible, and I will tell you, I'm sure it's no different. Your budgets are tight. We know that. Ours are tight, but one of the things our board has been really resolute about is the Chemeketa Scholars Program. And even though we had some pretty big challenges with declining enrollment and COVID and all that, our board has just made a commitment to keeping that program alive, because we've heard from so many students and parents in particular that absent that scholarship program, their children wouldn't be able to attend. So it gives a pretty good feeling to know we're in. Any questions?
I do have one question. The enrollment, you weren't here at the time. Mrs. Everett was here at the time. We didn't have that much participation in the very forefront, but it grew exponentially. Am I correct? With our student population taking advantage of this? Yeah. Okay.
I have a question about the Chemeketa Press. That's ingenious. And is that still an active program, and have other community colleges followed suit since 2015?
Well, as far as I know, we're the only community college that has its own peer review press in the nation. It's not, in order to do something like this, the college is underwriting the effort. And, but what we did was, and this is part of my time, so this is the royal we, but the instructors basically said, we want a book that is geared exactly for our students. It's not the book plus a whole bunch more that we never get to in the course, which is pretty typical because of the way the physics come out of the big publishing houses. So it's really exactly what the students need. And then in the development of it, it's not just the faculty who wrote it and then had other faculty review it. Then it goes to the students and it comes out in a paperback kind of form as a sort of first draft. And then the students in the course review it the first go around. And then they will say things like, that's not very clear. This question didn't really, so that input is changed. So this is a really very student-centered kind of, locally relevant project. And it becomes this really amazing tool for professional development for faculty because they're driving it and it's very discipline specific, but it's really all about the students. Anyway, so in answer to your question, we're still going strong. I don't even know how many books we have now, but a lot. And here's where the other colleges come into play. They're buying our books to use them with their own students. And we've got community colleges around the nation they're getting exposed to the books at conferences where we are in a booth and we say, look what we've done here, it's exciting stuff. And at least for our students, we're guaranteeing them that no book will cost more than $40. Which is a really low price for a book that has a bunch of images in it and all the things, right? So, so the exciting thing is it is kind of a movement, and it's a movement where other colleges are actually purchasing our books, which is making it more affordable for us to then continue to produce more and more books. So there's nothing else like it that I've become aware of. So it really is a pride point for the college, and it's a wonderful thing for the community because Ken's right. We have had courses, community colleges, where the book costs more than the course.
Wow.
Great job. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you. I don't know about the rest of them.
I want to say thank you and enjoy the game.
Down, so I have Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we need to, I'm trying to remember if we have to adjourn from the public meeting to go to the budget here. Or if we just. Trying to remember. In any case, we are moving into the budget hearing with the proposed approved budget. We are willing to accept testimony toward this. If you have signed up for that purpose, you need to check on that. And if we have Zoom participants, we need to notify our Zoom master at this point. This is for later, because your comment was not about budget. No, it's not. That's the other part. Okay. We have no comments there.
Ms. Jones, are we being live streamed tonight?
Yes.
And there's no one in the queue.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Were we going to take 10 prior to this?
After.
After, okay.
So, Fred, I'm going to ask you to share the budget method with our audience that's here. She's got to go here.
The Jefferson School District budget message is intended to provide a summary of the proposed budget and how this budget differs from the prior year. In developing this budget, our focus continues to be on the district's mission, but we will prepare all students to successfully navigate their transition to life beyond high school by providing qualified, rigorous instruction, providing a safe environment, and fostering a culture of student learning. We achieve our mission by aligning our resources to support our mission statement and our strategic plan. As of the publication of this document, the state's revenue forecast is robust, showing a massive surge in tax collection. Net general fund and lottery revenues are up a combined $1.173 billion since the December forecast, a robust growth of 4% in just 3 months. And since that previous forecast, the projected personal kicker has almost doubled to $964.2 million, and the projected corporate kicker has grown by over 150% to $633.8 million. It's important to remember that state is only a third of the way through the 2021-23 biennial budget period, so we anticipate and expect those numbers to grow significantly in future forecasts. Additionally, the state's reserve accounts, the Educational Stability Fund, the Rainy Day Fund, and the cash revenue grew significantly again and are currently projected to top $5 billion during the 2021 through 23 biennium. This is equivalent to 20% of the general fund budget. Add in the strength of the corporate activity tax collections, and it is safe to say that Oregon's budget is in the best financial position since the passage of Measure 5 in 1990. Based on this positive forecast, no negative budgetary impacts are anticipated during the 22-23 school year. Funding for the State School Fund, Measure 98, the SSA and SIA will remain strong and fully funded, and the growth in revenue bolsters state reserves to deal with any unexpected shortfalls. This is welcome news considering the challenges we face in terms of supporting our students both academically and social emotionally, following 2 hard years of the pandemic. While this news is indeed welcome, one potential complicating factor is the reality that enrollment has declined both in Jefferson and throughout the state. A decrease in enrollment can result in budget reduction, even when the state is experiencing a very strong influx of revenue. Having said that, however, we are encouraged with the increase in home building in Jefferson and the potential to bring in new families, which will generate additional money. Oregon's next economic forecast isn't due until late May 2022. Therefore, this budget is built on the official estimate issued by Oregon Department of Education in March 2022. The 2021-23 biennial budget and state school fund distributions are predicated on a $9.299 billion state appropriation split 49.51%. This amount has not yet been amended by the legislature at the date of this document. The district staff are proposing a budget that allows the district to continue services to students and move toward our continuous improvement plan based on existing estimates. At the same time, staff are working to establish potential reductions should we face a shortfall in our state school fund grant in the 2023 fiscal year. Regardless of the many challenges we face, we are committed to developing a budget that will best serve the students of our community. The steps taken will allow us flexibility to move quickly as the economic story in Oregon continues to unfold.
The budget committee met and voted to approve the budget, the proposed budget, and I will accept a motion to pass the budget.
I move to accept the Jefferson School District 14J resolution number 220600, number 22.06.001, adopting the budget, levying taxes, and making appropriations for the 2022-2023 fiscal year with a tax rate of $4.8468 per 1,000 of assessed value for the operating purposes in the general fund in the amount of $20,588,398.
I second the motion.
The first and second. All okay. Tracy Rowe. How do you vote?
Aye.
Fred Sotomayor.
Aye.
Dave Jones. Aye. Motion passes. And we're going to take a 10-minute break at this time. Now Next up is the financial report.
There any questions regarding our financial report? We have them out of order a little bit, but we'll fix that for next month.
Hattie, what calendar date we go through this every year? I know it's in July, I believe, when the books have to be closed.
We'll leave them open for approximately 2 weeks to finish paying out any invoices that are stragglers. We stopped spending basically on May 31st. Everything had to be ordered so we could have it received and the invoices could be in-house before everyone leaves for summer break.
Okay.
So usually we'll be writing the checks as of June 30, probably the first 2 weeks of July, and then we close the books.
Okay. So is the ending fund balance expected to go lower than what's printed?
I would say it's expected to increase just a little bit based on we have things still encumbered that the electricity may come in lower, that we don't need to spend everything that's been encumbered. We'll be releasing funds that we don't anticipate spending before our office managers and secretaries will go out for summer break. We will be asking them to close any POs they don't anticipate spending so that there's a little bit of fluctuation. Okay. We're going to be closing the books and getting everything released for the encumbrances and such. Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have any questions. I really do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to thank you for giving us our pretty copies of the budget.
You're welcome.
Of the audit.
You're welcome. And this week is our pre-audit. So we usually have 2 audits during the year. One is a pre-audit and one is a final audit. We were late this year. We usually have it in April, but it's actually this week. So, and they usually focus on payroll, the first part of the audit. So contracts, I-9s.
Is it safe to assume you're not on vacation this week?
No, sir, I'm not on vacation this week. No, too much to do.
Thank you for what you do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions?
I appreciate reading the short letter, which says we have a clean opinion with no reservations.
Yeah. There's always something to work towards. Always something to work towards.
Always has been every year as things change.
Right. We had to start putting dates on bank statements. That kind of slipped our mind. They wanted to see that, but if that's all they find, it's a good thing, right? So we work towards our audit every day.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? If not, we'll go on to our superintendent's update.
Well, good evening, Vice Chair Jones, members of the board. My report's a little wordy tonight, so apologies for that, but there's a lot of good products to convey. And so I want to make sure, since this is our last meeting, that we kind of do an end of the year report. As the year comes to a close, we're going to reflect on perhaps one of the most challenging years in education memory. Our systems were stretched to the limits, and many of our staff endured both personal and professional challenges. Our students, having spent a year and a half away from in-person schooling, had to reacclimate to socialization and routine. But we persevered, and as a system, we're tired and ready for a break, but we're also proud of the work we've done, and glad to be working together again, face to face with students. Interacting with masks finally, so we are happy. We had an in-person graduation ceremony this year that was wonderful, and we had field trips once again, and we had sporting events resumed as normal. These are things that you take for granted until they're taken away from you, or have to change in such ways that make it really difficult. And so we're celebrating. There's a lot to celebrate, and I don't want this report to focus on the challenge of COVID. In fact, I want this to be a celebration of the important work that we've done in the schools and for our strategic plan, even in the last 9 weeks. We in the district office and administration feel that Jefferson is on the move. Our facilities alone, I just wanted to briefly mention that we have a new kitchen. As you can see, I'm sorry that screen isn't working tonight, so we can look at here. Hey, if you haven't recall, remember? Yeah, just a few, well, like a month ago when we did a teacher appreciation, none of this was done. And our team has done just a magnificent job of putting it as a floor, electrical outlets. You can see what a difference in transformation that is. We're still waiting on the stove and some burners that are, they were supposed to be in already, but we're waiting for those. But the point is this place is in the fall ready to rent out for events. And so what we're hoping to do is, whatever the plan is to bring community members in for a gathering where we can kind of show them the space and talk about the rental opportunities and see if we can get some interest that way. The money we get for the rentals goes to our library and to reinvigorate our books. So we're excited. We think this was a huge success for us. Next, we have a storage, that's good. Storage shed. And with inside that's
Sorry.
hold on right there. There's the storage shed. And as you know, this was in the works. I mean, ever since I got here, it was a dream of the maintenance staff to have a shed like this because we have equipment that needs to be protected from theft and damage. And so we need a larger space to store our equipment. And so we finally, as you know, you guys approved that and we had it built. And Raymond Freitag, who is just recently retired as of last week, is responsible for building that. So a much heartfelt thanks. I know you're not listening right now, Raymond, but thank you so much for all the work that you did. It was a fantastic job. Inside there we go, is a freezer that we got secondhand. When this whole Delta Omicron thing started off in the beginning of the year, there was a real concern about a food shortage because everything was so delayed. And so I said, well, let's get as much food as we can in storage so that we don't have to change our menus that often, and we'll have plenty of food in case there's a problem. So they started looking for a freezer. We found one and we finally got it up and running, and now it's we're able to do that. So that's another win for us. We're going to we're looking at and we're talking about the bleachers. Well, high school, there's no picture of those, obviously, but we're replacing the old bleachers and looking to revitalize our high school as much as we can, right? And so the next piece is the HVAC. We've applied for a grant and we're just waiting to hear to see if we qualify for that. But as you know, last time, we had approved this for a company to do a plan to see what it would involve and what it would cost. So that process is in place. But meanwhile, we've applied for this grant. We've asked for $500,000. If we get that, that could very well pay for that project. So we're hopeful for that and hoping to hear that any week now. And we were hoping to hear that soon. Yeah.
And just for clarification, HVAC system we're talking about at the high school.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. As you know, and when I talked to the students this spring, they talked about one of the biggest issues for them was the how hot the rooms get and how cold they are in the winter and how hot they're, whatever, you know, it gets really stuffy. And so this is going to go a long way to help improve our learning environment. So we're looking forward to that. The other things that we've done is we've cleaned out our storage spaces. So, you know, both at the elementary school, at storage at the old middle, and storage at the high school. And just we're talking, you know, 30, 40 years of just stuff being crammed into little spaces. And our custodial maintenance crew really weeded out things that weren't needed anymore, old, you know, junk, and got rid of those spaces, opened up spaces so that we have, you know, a good clean storage, good clean learning environments, clean areas behind stages. It's just part of our effort to have a good clean system. In one of those spaces at the elementary school, we're in the process of getting ready for an emergency. So we're purchasing equipment like tents, portable bathrooms, water, foodstuffs, because if we have a major Cascadia earthquake, we want to plan for having students for a day or two out in our grounds if the buildings are deemed unsafe. And so we're in the process of purchasing equipment, and then we're in the fall, we're planning on doing an emergency exercise to be able to run through that just to see how that goes. So we now have a place where we can store those emergency equipment at the elementary school. Here, we're talking about building a small shed where just that material resides, because if it were in one of our buildings and the building went down, then we wouldn't be able to get that. So we're thinking we're having those conversations. And then we're revitalizing our libraries. And as I said, our rental fees are going to go to help supply more books. But you know, we've really, in the last 4 years, have done a complete reset on the library at the elementary school. It's now functional. We've got a librarian, we've got new books, we've got, classes coming in all the time, checking out books. And at the high school, we're now in that same process of, we've painted the walls, we've cleaned out old shelves and storage things that were sitting in there that didn't need to be there, cleaning out the space, and we're reconfiguring it so that it's a hub where kids want to be and spend their days there. So a lot of exciting work happening there as well. So that's just the facilities piece. As you know, our strategic plan, we've been sharing that with our schools, going around and talking to staffs, and we've been talking about goal setting. And in fact, we didn't wait until next year. So as you know, we were talking about the plan for next year, but next year we're going to be dividing up our plan into every 9 weeks, setting goals for those 9 weeks, looking at data and outcomes of those 9 weeks, and then progressing each, a little bit at a time. So what we decided to do is start now. And so these last 9 weeks, schools have been engaged in strategic planning. Tonight, report captures a few examples from each school, listing the goals and the outcomes of these past 9 weeks. And it's, again, laying a foundation for the fall is what our focus is these first 9 weeks. That's just, I showed this to you last month, but it's just the focus is on, that's our mission and vision, and our cornerstones, which, it captures our pillars. But we figure, the more we focus and are intentional on our cornerstones, the more we get to the mission and vision of our strategic plan. So let's get into the different schools. Jefferson High School focused on 3 overarching goals related to 3 of the cornerstones of our strategic plan these last 9 weeks. Developing foundational knowledge and skills aligned K-12, so that's one of the top cornerstone. Improving wellness and social emotional health, that's number 2, and CTE. During these first 9 weeks, they began to revise their current master schedule, and they also began to implement rulers school-wide. For the high school to reach its goal of becoming a school on the move, providing a challenging and engaging learning environment that inspires high expectations and lifelong learning. We needed to look at and streamline our systems in order to prepare for the fall. As such, a team at JHS reviewed and streamlined the master schedule, ensuring it was student-centered by determining student needs and making adjustments to the schedule based on that learning. All staff reviewed and revised course descriptions for the 22-23 course catalog. This is a lot of work, and it goes a long way to inform what we're teaching so that we can set goals, lay out standards for students to reach, and begin to collect data on student progress. The school is in the process of revitalizing and expanding Pride classes to 4 days a week instead of 1. And Pride gives us an opportunity to embed social and emotional learning lessons into the school day using ruler, an evidence-based approach to social emotional development. Our Pride classes will also build in time for a stronger focus on college and career readiness using Naviance curriculum, which will help Jefferson students develop critical skills and college knowledge, and instills confidence so that they'll persevere and reach long-term college and career goals. So this Naviance that we created, that we purchased, software, has lessons, and this Pride class will be able, students will be able to take those lessons and really learn about different colleges and what they need in different careers. It's quite a great program. Finally, Pride will allow us to be intentional about the use of our AVID strategies. And as you know, we're an AVID district with COVID. We have to take a step back and focus on how do you do online learning. And now we're getting back again to AVID goals school-wide. And Pride's going to help us with that so that it's not just in an AVID class, but some strategies that we can do across the school. Students will then be able to independently apply these strategies throughout their school day and across all content areas. So it's something they learn in one area, they can take with them throughout the day. Note taking will be an example. We continue to expand our strong partnership from 9 to 18 slots with Willamette Career Academy, giving Jefferson High School students access to 6 program offerings: cosmetology, diesel technology, health services, construction technology, manufacturing, and information technology. And we have all those of our spots filled. We also are developing our own CTE opportunities by adding graphic design and digital media to our current offerings of agriculture and automotive technology. Looking ahead, we are working closely with Willamette Education Service District and USD to implement Control Tower. And that's providing our students enrolled in CTE courses valuable experiences with industry partners. Our master schedule was also streamlined and enhanced through the forecasting process by our students by taking fitness walking, Latin American studies, college writing, yoga, fitness, and dance, intro to the world of automotive, weightlifting, communications, musical theater, and theater tech out of a once-a-week Wednesday Academy class and into the regular master schedule, so our students are able to benefit from these classes throughout the week. Classes like sheet metal, beginning drafting, and intro to early childhood education were paused due to a lack of student interest in forecasting. In our desire to build a stronger CTE program, we will be looking at student interest in the coming year and surveying them, as well as funding opportunities to provide either a club experience or perhaps build another class by getting an instructor if we can secure the funding. In addition to all of this, I was asked to sit on the Willamette Promise Advisory Board, which benefits our district as well as it relates to dual credit courses and CTE growth and opportunities for our students. So I was really honored to be asked to do that. We are strong proponents of dual credit opportunities, and we will be continuing to offer multiple dual credit classes next year across a variety of content. The school is in the process of revitalizing the library, as I said, to make it the hub of the school. We will see a transformed space come the fall. Additionally, we're replacing the bleachers, talked about that, and HVAC. We're also committed to the performing arts, and our student numbers have increased from 35 to 66 next year. We have been focused on vertical alignment, meaning that our teachers at the elementary level and the middle level and the high school level have been meeting to discuss how to build their programs. We had, for example, the middle school music teacher go to the elementary teacher to recruit kids up in the middle school. And we have had the middle and high school also working together to coordinate and build programs. So we're seeing it pay off in terms of our numbers for next year, that effort, and we're hoping to see an improved growth in performing arts as kids come up from the elementary school. As you have heard, a lot of important work has been taking place at the high school to strengthen our programs and provide a richer, more comprehensive program for our students. While this does not capture all of the progress the high school has made, in the interest of time, I'm going to move to the middle school, talk about its planning. Jefferson Middle School wrote goals for these past 9 weeks as well. They too were focused on developing foundational knowledge and skills aligned K-12 and improving wellness and social emotional health. They've been working hard on building relationships by implementing Ruler and checking to see where they are in the implementation and what they need to do in the fall to improve. They have been giving lessons on anti-bullying, and they have been resumed school-wide activities like Fun Friday and No Tardy Parties to reinforce the importance of being in community and in attending and being on time to class, ready to learn. Academically, the staff has begun to look at data using the IXL software. They have written standard maps and rubrics. And that's a lot of work. These things take a lot of time to do that. And they're working with our TOSA BECA on developing formative and summative assessments. So the formative to, the ongoing assessments, and then the more, end of unit semester kind of assessments. In short, a lot of very important foundational work is taking place to set up the school for success next year. Also, a lot of focus on social emotional health is taking place to help students who are struggling with the transition back into in-person school. Jefferson Elementary School has also been focused on both Cornerstone. They've been using data to inform instruction all semester. They've actually the first ones to start. Teachers have been reviewing and using Galileo data to inform small group instruction and or other accommodations for students. Teachers were given time to work with their grade level teams 3 times the sport. The priority has been to move students from intervene to monitor. So, and they've shown growth and success in that area. Just kind of give you just a sample of what it is that we're looking at. So Becca came and reported this to me, and we're just kind of looking at their math scores. And so when we look at beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, that's going on you see on the upper left. And what we see here up at the very top is 48.9% in the red, not at benchmark. And at the end of the year, we're down to 35%. And if you look at the blue on the far right, that's exceeds. And so you're seeing not only the numbers going down, and so more kids learning, but also we're seeing more acceleration as well. 3rd grade, same thing, from 35 to 25. And we didn't have anybody in the excelling in the beginning or middle, and look at the end right there, get 10%. 5th grade, same 51 down to 48. And we're seeing an increase in the acceleration. So that's what I mean when I say we want to be data informed, because that's the kind of story that I need to know if what we're teaching is working. And so that tells me that what we're doing in math at the elementary school is paying dividends, it's working. And then, how can we get it even better? How can we support them? What do they need to get even more of those students on grade level? So 48% is a nice, it's nice gains, and we're talking about this year, but as we go on in the next year, we're going to look at getting that 48 number down to the 20s and so forth. We want to bring it all the way down, so that's our work for next year. So how do we do that? And those are the kind of conversations that we will be having each 9 weeks in groups to be able to get better at what it is we're doing. And remember, Galileo is able to look at the standards of what kids are learning and which ones they're missing. And so we're able to drill down and go, oh, these students haven't got these concepts yet. How can we reteach this in a way that they can get it? Those are the kind of conversations that you can't have unless you're data informed. And so that's what we're excited about.
So the yellow is the barely, or it doesn't, the first doesn't meet and the other is.
I don't have the near meets, I think. It's
Near.
Yeah, yellow is nearly meets.
yeah.
Okay,
And then green is at level, and then blue is above level.
This is.
And then red does not meet.
Yeah. Yeah, our new math curriculum. Teachers agreed upon and used priority standard mapping for ELA and math. Each grade was given time to create priority standards. Then a team with grade level representatives met to organize and connect priority standards chosen by grades to create continuity. Also, for our behavior piece, they implemented PACS, the behavior, and that's a trauma-informed classroom management system across the school. They focused these past 9 weeks all on using specific strategies, and it works in conjunction with Ruler. So the school is very focused on providing as many supports to students as they can to reduce behavior incidents and give students a consistent, calming learning environment. So we're seeing progress in becoming a data culture. We're seeing progress in academics and teaming. We're seeing progress in behavior and working in building systems to reduce behavior. So a lot of significant improvement has taken place even during a year that's been extremely challenging. So we're excited about that.
I have one question about the graph. You probably already said it before, but the time frame to gather this kind of data, what were we looking at here? Is that a 9-week process right there, or is that?
That's not a 9-week. That's so that we did like a beginning test to see where kids are when we started, and then we did a middle of the year, and then we did the end of the year. So so the last column we just got done doing the end of year assessment.
Okay, so that's one calendar year of educational process.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So everything discussed tonight doesn't compromise, doesn't comprise all of the work that these schools have been doing, but it highlights the fact that the first 9 weeks since we've begun our new strategic plan, the schools have been working hard in a very focused way toward our mission of vision statement. We will begin in the fall with renewed focus, and I'm excited about all the progress we can make next year this time after another full year of intentional strategic planning. And that is my report tonight.
Vertical alignment, which particular, when you're talking about vertical alignment, obviously we've done a ground base, which is the elementary school. Then it moves on to the middle school, and then it moves on to the high school. And that vertical alignment happens to be, correct me if I'm wrong, the different educators at the different campuses teaching towards the common goal and keeping the attention, going from beginning to mastering the subject that is being taught. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and then, but it's also the communication between the schools, being able to see what, for like say the middle school, let's just take math, for example.
Okay.
When they get 6th graders in, at what level of math are they? Where do they see the holes? And being able to have those conversations with elementary school to say, this is what we're seeing. Can you help inform what's going on there? Is there anything the elementary can do to help, say, with fractions or something like that? And so then they start having those conversations. So it's that alignment of being able to see, what we're teaching and being able to build a system so that by the time they get to high school, they're at a much higher level of operating.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to new business. We've already adopted the budget, so we move on to the bleachers. And taking place. Gentlemen, any questions?
Not so much questions is concerns. When we first had the conversation, Kay, and Fred, about the bleachers and approving X amount of dollars towards this thing. One of the conversations that Raymond put out there is that the voltage cap capacity out there at the high school in that area was 120 volt single phase. And this particular bid from NORPAC is indicating in the base bid, third line down, it says power 122.08 volt, 3-phase 60 hertz. So I believe that we don't have the power sufficient for that particular motor. So we need to find out if they have an alternative. First of all, we need to find out for sure if that is the case. You know, that we only have 120 out there, single phase. And then if they have the ability to, if they have motors that can operate off of 120 single phase instead of 3-phase. I also think that it's important that we do some investigation with respects to the maximum rise from step to step. I know that in the commercial industry and permanent stair risers, that elevation is not to be more than 7.5 inches. This is definitely a commercial process, but the bleachers are not something that is there for traffic. It's strictly for seating, so there may be exceptions to that rule. And looking at one of the other proposals, I noted that they have a 10.25 inch rise. But that particular proposal also talks about their power supply being single phase power and not 3-phase power. The other proposal, H21 group, also indicates that they are planning on using 120 volt single phase power as well. As far as pricing and everything is concerned, it appears that NORPAC Seating has a more detailed proposal, in my opinion, than the other two proposals, and they also happen to be the low bidder on this. And I personally would want to have these particular concerns answered prior to awarding the contract.
On the second to the last page on the NORPAC one, bank summary. It has the rise at 9 inches, 9 and 5/8 inches.
Yeah,
Correct.
NORPAC
That
does, but NSC is 10.25 and H2I, I believe that's the name of it.
I'm just concerned about the rise. I don't know that I'm concerned. I think that the code allows for not so strict and definitive dimension requirements on something such as this, but I'm not certain that. When I build to permanent standards. They're there, they stay there, they don't move in, they don't move out. I'm sure that it's probably acceptable, but I'm not certain that it's acceptable. I'm sure that these folks have done their due diligence and their homework, and they wouldn't be putting forth a proposal that does not meet state standards. But the greater problem is the electrical requirement for the low bidder requiring 3-phase, and it would probably, if they can't do anything other than 3-phase, we would have to convert, and that would come at a pretty penny to the district for that particular area. And routing that power is another problem. So those are my concerns.
Yeah, I share Tracy's same concerns, especially I believe it was the NSC bid, just a complete lack of. There was a lot of detail lacking in that, and that's definitely a concern. I'm a detail guy, and this is a fairly lots of steps in this process, and that concerns me as well. The other thing that a couple other concerns is that I'd like to know if there's any value to the old bleachers, and I know the wood prices have skyrocketed, and maybe Tracy can attest more to that, and not only to see if there's any value in them, but we see if there's any value to the community in them, and maybe they can be repurposed within the district somehow. They've been in there over 30 years. Is that right?
1980 something. Can't remember which.
Yeah. So, and then my other concern is that the community hasn't had a chance to see any of the 3 of these proposals. And when I ran for to be on the school board, that's one of the things I ran on was total transparency. And if there's no reason why we can't have all 3 of these contracts. To me, it's just more sets of eyes on them, and there's a lot of people out in the community that are a lot more knowledgeable about this kind of stuff, and they may spot something in one of these contracts. I'd like to have the community to have a chance at them. That being said, all these are only good for 30 days, and the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So I don't think this should be proposed or postponed until the next board meeting. But I'm uncomfortable voting on this tonight.
Just for clarification, this went through the bidding process. The winning bid was chosen. Norpac was the low bid. The other 2 have been notified that they did not hit the bid. So we're happy to
reach out to them,
get
the
question answered, and see if there's any concerns there. If there was concerns, then it would be good to get that answered and get it in paper.
Yep.
And then we can let you know what they're saying, and then confirm it with our maintenance and what we're able to do there, so to make sure everything is accurate. And then the value, we're going to be dismantling the bleachers, and so the wood will be put aside, and we have the same intent of making it available to the community. We just haven't gone that far as to what we would do with it, or how we're going to do that yet, because that's kind of a down the road thing. But we're not going to get rid of it. If that's a concern. So we're going to make sure that it's safe. And then the metal part would be scrapped, but the wood and valuable part would be held on to until a later time.
What is the administration office? They have these options add on 2. Well, I scratched out add on 1 because that was the providing removal and disposal of the material, and then they also know that they have the right to reclaim all the materials. Yet they're still charged $9,625 to do so.
The only one add-on we're doing is the logo, this is the lion logo.
Add-on 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that, there's still
And then the voluntary deduct emit, the 2% performance bond included in the above base bid, which is a reduction of $3,155. So doing math, you take 160,890 plus the 4,750. Hit the equal button, and then deduct 3,155. Where does that come out at? 160,890. 4,007 plus 4,750.
4,750.
Take away $3,155.
162,485.
162,485. What was it that the school district that the board was not to exceed? Wasn't it 200,000? So even if, just thinking out loud, Fred and Kay, we're still under by 20. No, so 30 some odd thousand. It ain't gonna be 30 some odd. It ain't gonna be 37,000 to get. I can't imagine it would be, but I'm not an electrician. And the bids that I've been getting lately for electrical myself on my own projects, I sweat every time. So I am definitely concerned about this 120, 280 volt 3-phase. Is it possible that we could have the district with the questions answered and then we convene?
With the 30th of the month?
Yeah. Is it possible for us to do that?
I personally don't know if that's possible.
Potentially Wednesday, depending, because there's potentially two at bargaining, but I don't know if we get a third.
We can meet at 6 on Wednesday. To post the meeting.
Do we have legally? Do we have time to post that?
Yeah, 24 hours.
Okay.
Oh,
pardon?
I might be able to do Zoom on the road, maybe, or from out of state.
Well, and then we might be able to get Dewey.
Yeah, we might be able to get Dewey because he's due back.
I'm the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is this 30 days. We cannot exceed that. The way pricing is right now, it would be foolish for us to wait over and go beyond that timeline. So I'm intrigued by what I see as a school board member, being fiduciarily responsible. But that 3-phase, it's just a.
Let me ask you a question. Is it also possible to do a passing this on a contingent basis? So, that it gets approved on the basis that this issue is resolved. And then if it's not resolved to our satisfaction, then it doesn't. That way we don't have to meet again. And then I can report to you guys about what I find out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a press for you, Brad, because you're gonna have to get an electrician involved. NORPAC isn't gonna be doing the electrical itself. So it's gonna be a press for you to get an electrician in here to determine if they're not able to switch from 3-phase to single phase. You're gonna have to get an electrician in here rather quickly to get a proposal on what it's going to cost to convert that over to 3-phase.
I guess my wondering is this when we tell them, first of all, I guess would be to confirm what it is that we have and are able to do. If it's not a 3-phase and it's a 1-phase, then to be able to ask NORPAC if that can we adjust that in here. Which would then
yes, I understand what you're saying there, but
so then
if it's not, they're still the low bid, okay, and we want to stay underneath the threshold yet of these other proposals. If NORPAC says, no, we can't, but yet the electrical to convert it for this exceeds any one of these, then we're going backwards.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, contingent upon, we also need to know how much the electrical is going to cost at that point. Because then we may have to look at somebody who's broken in and they've got the 120 single phase, is what I'm saying.
I think there's a chance that we could get a resolution to this fairly soon.
Okay.
And then I have no problem if we're not getting good solid answers to put a hold on it and, you know, until we have it all figured out. But I would like to have the chance, because of the timing involved and
the time it takes to order the parts.
right, to try to move forward, knowing that we have to have those pieces answered.
Oh, I do have one other question. NORPAC, how long to completion versus NSE and H2I? One of them was the fall of 23, correct?
NORPAC was the soonest.
December 22.
Yeah, it was before basketball.
NSE says March 2020, 2023 completion. And NORPAC is completed when?
December.
Okay. So we need to take that into consideration as well. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
I believe our bid committee did that when they already contacted two of the companies.
No, I'm talking about the three-phase issue and the cost of implementing three-phase if NORPAC. I mean, are we?
I think if you pass it with a contingency, it works.
I would be good with that, and Brad may be right. It may be a phone call to these guys, and they say, "Oh, yeah, we have an option," or you know, it may be as simple as that. But I share your concerns as well that if it's not, then you know how much if we can get an electrician out there, how much it's going to cost. One additional concern that I do have is that if our the only option that we chose was the add option number 4, add option number 1 was the removal and disposal. So obviously it has to be, and if we're not choosing that, it has to be removed.
Yeah.
And so how much is that? And I saw they have, were you planning on doing that ourselves?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's not going to cost our district $9,000 to remove that.
No. Okay, that was the only other concern I had. So
okay. So I too believe that Brad can get the questions answered in a couple of days, and Brad knows our concerns at this point. And I think we'll weigh in enough to.
So can I entertain a motion from one of you gentlemen? You should name the company and bid information.
Okay.
And the contingency.
Yeah. I move to award the bid for the Jefferson High School bleacher project to NORPAC Seating, contingent upon their ability to change or provide a motor if it is found at our school district that we only have 110 single phase from their proposed 120 208 volt 3-phase 60 hertz. Also, with clarification and proof through state code that the 9 5/8 inch rise on each one of the risers is acceptable on a collapsible bleacher system. And to add on option number 4 for the extreme graphic of $4,750. Realizing the omission of a 2% performance bond in the amount of $3,155 for a grand total of $162,485.
Going forward, I would like to see all bids made publicly available for total transparency. That being said, I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. I can. I don't know if I can get it all out. So that Tracy Rowe moved to award the bid for the Jefferson High School bleacher project to NORPAC Seating, with the contingencies of their ability to provide the appropriate electrical to support the motor
That we currently have.
For the motor they want to put on the bleachers.
Yes.
That if we don't have the current that can, okay. And then that they clarify that the rise for the bleachers meets state code, and to include option 4 and voluntary deduction for the total of $162,485. Since we've had discussion, I'm going to call for the vote. And Tracy.
Aye.
Fred.
Aye.
Kay Jones, aye. Motion carries. We'll move on to the next part of our meeting, and it's to go over the superintendent's contract.
Sure. So I believe that Chair Kamladi and I and Brad Capender's Superintendent Capender's representative met I think 2 times in person. Brad, I didn't know I was going to. So first of all, I'd like to apologize to everybody here. This is not usually how I come to these board meetings. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I married my kid this weekend, and between cleaning up my house to my wife's standards, from having 50 people there and moving my kid to Washington, kind of lost track of what I had going on here. So I apologize, but the negotiations went pretty well, and I got educated during it. And so basically what we did is we took a look at the 7 districts and what their superintendents made in total compensation. And to just be fair, the districts were similar in size to our district. And I thought that was a really good way to take a look at things. And so we took a look at those districts and total compensation, comparing apples to apples, and quite frankly, our superintendent was at the bottom of the pack and in total compensation. So the contract that we agreed to does not put him at the top of the pack, but he's no longer at the bottom of the pack, and he's somewhere pretty much right in the middle there. And so I think it's fair, and Mr. Capender agreed to it, so I believe he thinks it's fair. So that's
We need a motion.
the motion.
I read over the contract, and to me, there was no gray areas in it. So I am pleased to make a motion. I move to extend Superintendent Brad Capender's contract to June 30th of 2025.
I second that.
Any further discussion? With the copy that I received, there was one letter missing on the first end of the first paragraph that needs to be added in before we sign the contract.
I didn't catch that.
Tracy Rowe.
Aye.
Fred Sotomayor.
Aye.
Kay Jones. Aye. Motion carried. Go on to board comments. Fred, let's start with you. Do you have any comments for us tonight? Tracy?
I do. It's nice to be able to look at data and understand it. And the way the district is going, the data-driven information is obviously pretty important. And if it can be presented in a way that us board members just sitting here seeing it for the first time, we can look up there and we can go, there's growth. That says that you guys are doing your job and you're making it so that everybody can understand it. Okay, you as educators, you have ways of looking at things that just don't jive with us. And it was very nice to see data up there that at a glance you can just really grab it and hold on to it and go and clap your hands. So I want to thank the entire district administrator, each one of the campuses for all the hard work that you guys are individually and cooperatively putting it together to make the educational process here at Jefferson something that others can talk about. I also am just really elated over the Willamette Promise, Chemeketa, and what our kids are able to take advantage of. And Kathy, thank you so much many years ago for bringing that to this school district and kind of taking the wheel on that. And I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you all. So.
Okay. I would like to thank those that are resigning from our district, Kimberly, Cameron, Megan, and Alec, who are leaving our district. I want to thank them for their service. And I would love to compliment and congratulate Rick Campbell, who will be the middle school PE teacher, health teacher. Veronica Torres, thank you for taking on the elementary school. Tara Buck is the high school English language arts teacher, and Jacob Carnes taking on varsity football coach. And congratulations to those people. The other thing I wanted to bring up is as soon as we get our information from OSBA, we will be getting our surveys for the board self-evaluation, and our debriefing date is July 13th, Wednesday at 6 p.m. followed by the change of the board meeting in July to the 18th at 6:30. And then we have a work session on firearms on July 21st, and I believe that's also 6 o'clock.
The July 13th meeting was the 6 p.m.
Yes. Those are the work sessions. Okay. At this time, we have audience time coming up. And so, Claire Troutman, I'm going to let you hand out what you have to hand out while I read through our little handy indicator. I think the reporter meeting. Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, thank you so much. If there's nothing else, I shall adjourn the meeting at 7:59.
Did you send out an invite off for the 18th? Mm-hmm.
July 15th is going to be the regular 14th. From the 11th before they corrected it.
Oh, never mind. I
remember when you corrected it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to thank you guys for.
Way better on skip field stuff.
No problem. Yeah, actually, what you did and what we got back, I'm really surprised that you had.
That's why I can grab it. Yeah.
Did you?
Where they're from?
Oh, no,
They're all, well, one